Hey everybody, it's Steve with Sky194, and appreciate you taking the time to visit and check out my video. And as you can see, we're here at Monza, and I'm in the Ferrari 488 EVO. And I had a request for some setups, and it was a good idea, and it sounded like some fun. And I keep talking about doing some how-tos on setup guides, so I'm going to try to attempt to do it now. Of course, all right, off the get-go, of course, I'm going to, a little disclaimer, I mean, this is just the way I do it. I'm not saying it's the only way to do it or the best way to do it. It's just how I do it. And it gives, hopefully it'll give you a way that you can adjust your, setups to your liking and how you want it to handle, to improve upon it. I mean, that's what we're all here to do, is to have fun and also try to just improve on what, improve upon it, whether it's driving, whether it's the setup, things like that. So this is kind of going to be off the cuff because I really don't know what I'm going to get into. So that kind of adds to, not surprise, but the anticipation of what's going to come out of. So what we're going to get out of it. And I'm going to call it like the Italian series. That's what I think he commented in the comments, which I thought was a pretty good idea, because there's 3 different tracks, and there's going to be multiple parts of this series. And this one first is Monza, and of course the setup to Monza is going to be pretty unique. And of course then the next one we're going to have is Misano, and that's definitely different than Monza by a long way. And then another one is Imola. So all 3 of those tracks are different from each other, so it's really good because it's 3 totally different setups and what we have to go through to find out what works for the car, the same car at all 3 tracks. So I hope you like it and like that kind of series. And please, any comments or likes would really help me with it to know if you all like it or not like it. This here I'm showing you is the fast lap, starting my fast lap so far of just the aggressive setup. Trying to get see what it feels like with the tires. You see it do 168 down the straightaway. So with the aggressive setup, that's all I got out of it. Maybe you can get a little bit more, but that's about it. And of course, I hope I don't annoy anybody. I don't want to, I'll probably be repeating myself multiple times just because I'd really try to communicate it as clearly as I can. And sometimes I don't know if you might miss it the one time, then you can pick it up when I say it again or something like that. So again, I apologize for that. I just want to try to communicate what I'm trying to get across as clear as I can, because sometimes I don't, and that's my fault. But I'm just trying. So excuse me for doing that. But driving with the aggressive, it's not a terrible setup. I didn't think it was too bad. Definitely a lot of areas that is going to be improved upon. And we'll go over the setup part of it. It just doesn't react the way I want it to react. It's low. And we are going to go through Motec also. Just what I go over. Again, it's just a fraction of Motec, but it's what I use to adjust the dampers or shocks, as we call them here, shock absorbers here in the U.S. So we are going to go over that also and how I go about doing that. So again, this is something y'all been asking for, and this is how I do it, and I think it makes the cars a lot more drivable, a lot more raceable. That was a 150.64. I mean, again, I know I can go faster, but we're going to do a few more laps with the aggressive because I want to get one thing I did forget since I was doing the aggressive was I forgot to put telemetry at laps on there. So we're going to do a few more laps just to get some data on what it's doing so we can compare it. And again, this is going to be multi-part because it's definitely going to be long because this takes long time to be doing this, and of course me trying to communicate it's going to take even longer. So I hope y'all like that. I don't mind it. If y'all don't mind it, I like it. I like talking to all my friends, and I sure hope again, the more comments that I see, the more likes I see, the more I know you'll like it, if you earn views and all those kinds of things. So please, I hope if you don't like it though, then I understand. But I'm just, again, just trying to, I guess, just trying to help so you guys can improve upon your driving and improve upon your setup. So let's go do that. And let's see, I think I got the wrong set of tires. I want to make sure I'm on a clean set. Yeah, it's number 2 is where I was on. Okay. I want to make sure I got a fresh set of tires. So again, we're just going to do a few laps. I know it wants to spin up really good. It wants to come off the corners. It wants to spin up. It's not good on the brakes at all. not at all on the aggressive. Not what I call good on the brakes anyway. So definitely a huge room for improvement there. And it's on map 3. So again, that's definitely taken some of the performance out just by that one click. But I didn't want to change anything because, this is the aggressive setup. So I'm pretty much the only thing I've changed is the steering, the brake pads, and just tire pressures, to get them so they're, what they need to be. But I haven't changed anything else, alignments, balance of the car, any of those other kinds of things. I haven't, changed at all. It's another thing. It's kind of low, so you hit things pretty hard. You see what I'm saying? So I mean, it's definitely a lot of room for improvement. I'm turning, you turn and you got to turn a lot more to get it to do something. I know it's probably because it's got a lot of negative camber in it. The main thing of this is just to try to get some data so we can, so y'all can look at it. It's not even on number 1, so it's just on, like I say, the number 3 map. So, which Monza, I mean, that's horsepower. I mean, I would rather it have me on the number 1. I don't want to stop. Stop! Takes the bumps pretty hard. Not awful, but hopefully we can improve upon it. But yeah, I appreciate that idea, and I just hope everybody likes it. I mean, I hope a lot of people like it, will support it, and will want to watch it. It's definitely going to be a longer series because I'm going to have I don't know how many parts. Really don't know as far as just each track because to get a setup here at Monza, then Misano and all others, Imola and all that. And if you have any other ideas, if you'd like to see something else like that with another car or something, just let me know, because I mean every car is different. just want to do stuff that y'all are interested in, that y'all like, and can improve your experience with sim racing and ACC. Doesn't turn good either. Lap times aren't not that good. So that's probably me. But I have run some laps trying to get a little bit more out of it. I said the fastest lap was a 150.6. That's not good at all. Aggressive. You just can't get too aggressive on the brakes. They just don't want to stop. So I'm afraid to try to really dive it in hard and throw it in. It just doesn't like it. Doesn't want to turn either. See, then it gets into a slide. Take much, you lose a couple tenths. And understeers through these corners. Even though it's a horsepower track, you got to be able to get through these corners. Go straight. And understeer is horrible. Okay, first thing I do if I'm doing even data is I'll go back to the garage. Now, again, why do I do that? I do that because I want to get my tires and see what they're doing, because if you leave it and come back, then it might not be accurate. So the first thing I want to do is look at, of course, making sure, always adjusting tires. I'm always adjusting to keep the tires mid-27s. So add 2 to that, add 2 to that. Roughly, these can come down a little. So, again, I try to keep them between 27.5 and 27.7, 27.8, something like that. A lot of it depends on the track. Some tracks you need to try to keep them at 28 because you're hitting so many bumps and things that lose a little bit of air as a stint goes. So every track is different. So that's one. But Monza is not that bad. So I usually try to keep them right around mid-27s to 27.7, 2 to 3 tenths. So that's the first thing I do. The next thing I do is while I'm doing the tires, I'm looking at the spread of the inside here and the outside here of the tire. So that's 4 degrees there. This is 5 degrees. This is 4 degrees, and this is 4 degrees. That to me is too much. I don't like that. And that's where you get the vague feeling. Now, 4 degrees, maybe sometimes I will go with 4 degrees, but that's the absolute max. I really don't like it. I actually like it less than that most of the time. But that's like on the edge. I mean, if the car is working well through that like that, and you got some corners that it could use it, okay. Like you got a lot of banked corners, or you got some, let's say, changing of altitude, going up and down that you need maybe more negative camber for whatever reason. Okay, I can understand that. But basically, this track is pretty flat other than a little hill here, but that's nothing. But it's all flat, so I don't really see that much. And I know a lot of people say, and I'm not, that's again, this is just how I do it. That you run a lot of negative camber at MONZA. Well, I don't go for that. I just don't like it, so I just don't do it. I guess I'm just a oddball. So basically, because as much as you get in speed, you lose in braking because you're taking the tire off the pavement. So again, as you guys seen in some of my Monza races, I'm usually making up a lot on the brakes, and that's just the way I drive. If you don't drive that way, then I understand that, but it gives you that confidence that if you're got a braking battle, you're going to be pretty tough. Plus, if you need to brake because of something happening, that's going to be good. So it's always a good thing to have it in their back pocket, so to speak. So that's that. Okay, so that's the main thing I do when I come back from this is I don't really go through any of this other stuff. I just want to check that right when I get done with the track. So then I go back, and now we're going to open up Motec. We're going to go up here. Let's see what we got. And here's Motec. So, what do I got this on anyway? First thing I do with Motec is I try to get the graphs to where they're using up most of the board. So you can see the difference in the graph. So I'll right click, go to properties. It's at 10, so that's not too bad. I could go to 9. And you see it stretches the graph. So that way when you change things, you see more of a difference. Instead of things are really close, you can see more of a difference in the graph. And every car is different, and that's all in their suspension and how they're, the geometries and how everything moves in that particular car. You'll see a lot of cars like the Lamborghini and Audi the rear doesn't hardly move at all compared to the Ferrari. So again, every car is different, and you just got to take it, each car as it is, and that's why it takes a long time to really learn that and know it. Now, of course, I'm sure a lot of people, the two numbers you try to keep at 50, as close as you can to 50 anyway. So that's one thing that you go off of, and of course you want this to pretty much look like a pyramid, or not a football, but because that's not what I want at football. But you want it to go arc up and then down, smooth, nice transition all the way up, and nice transition all the way down, pretty much, kind of like a diamond type thing, kind of, like a pointy diamond. So that's kind of like the way you want it. It's not always the way you get it, but again, some of those things you have to adjust. So you have rebound on this side, and this line here. You got the line in the center, and to the left of this line is rebound. To the right of this side is the bump. Okay, now this is the regular rebound, is the colored part, and this is the regular bump, and then down here is the fast rebound and fast bump. Okay, so this is the things that you're trying to adjust. Now, again, you want the point part to be the highest part, not anything to either side. Preferably like this. See how this is, where this is in the center on this right, this is of course a left front, left rear, right rear. So, and of course it says that up here. It says it what it is. But up here, you can see how it's a little higher than this. Okay, now this is how you get into tuning the shocks per individual, not just the fronts and the rears together. And some are worse than others just because they go over bigger bumps than others. You go over a sausage or you go over a big curb or whatever. It's going to make that one shock do more than the other. Or you got one side gets loaded harder than the other, or vice versa. So again, those are things that you have to change. You can see this one gets up a little higher. It goes up to a little over 7.5, and this one only goes up to 7. So again, just under 7, and this is about 7.5. So this goes up a little higher, so it's being used a little bit more as far as the travel. So again, we trying to get this to be more of a smoother transition up and a smoother transition down. Okay, and you got this, it has the same thing, and you can see how it's all not real bad here, but then it's kind of kittywampus there and all that. So again, we're trying to work on that to make it better. So that is the first thing. But again, you don't even want to mess with this really until you get at least halfway done or so. At least that's what I do, because it does make a difference on the handling. It does make a difference on going over the curbs. It does make it so it can make a difference. But the first thing you got to do is try to get the balance at least somewhat okay. At least get it roughed in to where then you can start looking at shocks and things like that. So again, I just wanted to show you what it looks. This is what a stock aggressive, what it looks like, and it's not awful. I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, it looks, it's not real bad. So again, it's there, but again, we need to try to improve upon it and try to dial it in a little bit more. So those are the basics, very basics, and what the graphs that I use. And I know there's a lot more to it than that, but I mean, that's just basically what I get into to get the shocks tuned in and things like that. But again, I've done so many setups for how many years with ACC. I know a lot as far as getting things roughed in and all that. So we'll go from there. So what do we want to start with? Well, right now the balance is way off, so we're going to have to start. The tires we know are good. Let's start with the aero, because that's some of the most important. So we're just going to go through each one here and make changes, and I'll explain the changes. And it's kind of like drawing a circle, a big circle, and you got the target in the center. Okay, just imagine you're drawing a big circle, you got the target in the center, and you just keep shrinking that circle down and down and down and down until you get to the target. And that's basically what I'm trying to do. It's like a naval battle, okay? In the old World War I and World War II days, where they had, basically battleships and gunships and stuff like that, where they would, basically what they did is they would shoot long and then shoot short and keep doing that until they got on their mark, and then they knew they hit it, okay? That's what they would do, go back and forth, and keep narrowing that down until they got their target zeroed in, and bam, they got you. Okay, well, this is basically the same thing. We start making big adjustments, and then keep, you might go the other way too much, and then you bring it back. That's how I do it. And again, because a lot of times time is always against me, and I mean, as it is, and I'm pretty picky about how I want the car, and I really try to make it good for me and for everybody else. So I really try to, sometimes it takes me a lot longer. That last 10-15% could take a long time. So again, in the beginning, it's a lot of rough type estimates. So we're going to start with aero. Okay, one, as you can see, they got the ride height is one. They got it down lower here in the rear. It's all the way at the bottom. I don't like that because, again, when you're going to spark, over curbs. You saw the speed, so we got to judge that. I mean, can we keep the same speed but make the handling better? Because if we can do that, then it's a better drivable car. I mean, if you can go through the corners faster and your speed down the straightaway is the same as what this is, and it only has a 2-wing, well, then you're gaining. So, because now you're basically doing the exact same speed, but you're going through the corners so much faster, and so your time's going to drop. So let's start off with a couple clicks on the ride height there, and let's just get it even here. Okay, so first of all, let's look at the front aero variation the way it is. We're looking at a 2.7 to the positive right now. 2.7 front aero variation, right? So we're going to go up here, and I'm just gonna make it even here. So we got even 59 and 59. I could go 58 and 58. Let's see what that is. 58 and 58, because I'm going to double the wing. I'm going to go from a 2 to a 4. So now we went all the way down to a 1.7 front arrow variation. Okay, if we go up one more, 1.6, just a teeny bit less, because as you raise the car, you're lowering the efficiency of the arrow of the car, the front splitter, the rear diffuser, and so on. There's a lot of wing adjustments in the Ferrari, so the wing isn't super, draggy. It's, as per Ferrari, they got the good combination between an efficient wing and the diffuser is what it is, not just a big, huge wing. So you can make smaller adjustments. So making adjustments on the wing isn't maybe as drastic as making adjustments on the Audi or the Nissan or stuff like, or other cars like that, or like the old Aston Martin. It doesn't have a diffuser. This has got a big, massive wing on it. Okay, so again, those are things that you always. Each car is individual, and each car you got to take that into consideration. But right now, of course, we're dealing with the 488 EVO. So let's do this. Okay, shocks I don't even touch until we get some of this balance correction. Now, what can we do? Now we do this. What are we trying to accomplish? What we're trying to accomplish is, one, if you look at the tires, okay, it's wearing the front a little bit, and that's only after a few laps. Okay, you can see it's wearing the front a little more than the rear, and that's just after a few laps. So it's just going to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Okay, so one thing we need to do is we want to get the wear more even, or have a little bit more wear to the rear than the front. And unfortunately, with a Ferrari, it's notorious for wearing the front tires. So for a mid-engine car, compared to the Lamborghini, compared to the Audi, which they can too, but they seem to wear the rears a little bit more, probably because it's got the big V10 back there. Maybe that's it. I don't know, but it just seems to be that way when I do the setups. So we need to compensate for that, because it's another thing. If you look in a long type race stint, you're going to end up wearing the fronts really fast, and then the car is going to be ill handling. So we got it's another thing we got to try to accomplish. So again, I hope you all get a drink and some chips and stuff, and sit back and take all this in, because it's definitely going to be a longer video. I try to keep it to a certain point in certain parts, so that way it's you can break it up, but it's definitely going to be a longer video. So here we go with the mechanical. We're going to go here, right? Well, any roll bar is not too bad. I could probably click it up a couple. Brake bias, this is where it's really hurting. The brake bias is way off. We need this thing to stop. And now we added more wing. Okay? So, again, you can't just throw a bunch of brake bias in when you don't have wing, because all you're going to do is lock up the rear tires. So now we added some more wing. So now we can get a little more aggressive with the brakes as far as the brake bias. So I'm going to bring this down. Let's say to 55. Let's drop it 5 and see how it reacts. See if it locks up. Here we have the springs, which, again, this changes the Motec a little bit also, as far as the rate of spring changes that center where the line goes through. It does change that a little bit as you change the rate. So it could use some more, because what you're trying to do, a perfect setup would be, around, if you could get the graph to go to like 12 to 14, somewhere in that range is like near the perfect range. Again, every car is different, so it's kind of like, it's not set in stone, but I'm just saying that's optimal. And you can see we weren't even getting up to 7.5 or 8, right? So that's we a lot nicer if it could go up a little higher, a little bit more travel in there. Of course, you got a bump stop rate that's super stiff, so that's probably restricting it, and then a super stiff spring on top of it. So, you got both of those. So let's things that I'm going to look at in the future. I'm not going to mess with it now, but I'm just saying that these are things that that'll be the next thing to go after. Just like the spring here. Now, if you notice, The rear had as much travel as the front, but you see how soft the spring is. So again, that's one of the reasons why it is that way, is because it's got such a soft rear spring. So again, that's something that's taken into consideration, which isn't bad for the back. The rear is always going to be a lot less, especially with a rear engine car, than the front as far as travel, suspension travel. So again, the rear of the car, for it to have, I call it about half of what a 12. So if it's anywhere from 6 to 8 is okay, is fine, because it's going to have probably about half the travel that the front does. It doesn't move near as much. And now you look at the rear. Now look at that. I mean, this is why we have all that you got a ton of understeer. Is look at the preload on the diff. I mean, 250, which I know there is a lot in the Ferrari. Okay, the Ferrari, you got to have a lot of preload. That's a given. But one, we don't have any roll bar, but you got a ton of preload. So I mean, let's just knock a little bit of this out. We'll knock it down to 180. Just take a little chunk out. So now we go down to fuel, and of course this is I got 62 liters. I figured that was like an average between 50 and 80 and all that, so I just left it at that with the number 1 pads. Okay, well this is not bad, but we're going to put the map on 1 for sure. Okay, so that's another thing. The map from 1 to 3, which I like with the Ferrari because you can save a lot of fuel on map 3, but it does hurt on performance. So if you need to save some fuel and you know ahead of time that you're not going to have enough, put it to map 3, and it takes a little bit out of it. Or your tires are worn, and your tires are starting to get a little worn. You can put it to map 3, and it just cuts it down a little bit, and it saves you a little bit on your tire wear and on your fuel. So that's something that's really nice with the Ferrari that I really like. Tires, of course. We got all this. We're gonna I'll just go ahead and leave this alone for now. I'm not going to mess with any of this, but that's going to be something coming up. So let's do a few laps. And let's get back to it. Again, I'm just going to do a few laps. This is the only way. There's no quick way, really. I mean, I could do it a lot quicker, but, trying to explain it. And I hope I'm explaining it all right. Any questions or anything, when you see this video, any questions, I'll try to answer the best I can. And it already stops way better. And I mean, I usually don't go off the aggressive too much anymore like I used to. I pretty much just start dialing in a setup, but I'm trying to go off of what you guys are, got somebody that hasn't been driving as much or just started with ACC or whatever, and they just use the aggressives and maybe a few little this or that or whatever, and they got a few little adjustments and they go from there. So again, that's why I'm just using that to kind of go off of. And we're only going to make a few laps. Feels better by a long. It definitely feels better. So I think it's an improvement already, hopefully. Of course, there's not going to be too much improvement there. Maybe a little bit because we did raise it, so still hitting these bumps pretty hard. A lot of it's at the bump stops. I mean, that's pretty high bump stops. Plus, they're right up against it, so. Yeah, it's got understeer for sure. See what we can do. Like I said, I just want to do a couple more laps. Sun is bright. I'm not really too worried about a lap time right now. The time for that will come. It's just getting the car to handle right, feel okay. Still taking these bumps pretty harsh.
The fastest step so far.
A little teeny bit too deep. Not bad though. Yeah, look at my time, like my delta. It's just that. I was doing that even on map 3, so I mean it was doing it on both really. So again, we got to dial that out. Now just think, I haven't done anything, hardly anything. All I've done is just change the balance of the car. That's it. I haven't done shocks. I haven't done suspension. I haven't just the balance. That's it. I've already picked up a bunch. I could pick up, I'm sure, a lot more if I kept trying. See, it's understeering pretty good. Yeah, I lost some there. I still picked up a good couple tenths, 2 or 3 tenths. I could pick up more than that if I just really tried to nail each corner. But we're definitely on the right track. So, one thing I want to look at, which we'll go back to this, again, go back to here. See, it's getting warmer, so we're, again, always checking tires. That's down for some reason. I'd be hitting the bumps on it. That's another thing. You never know, if you hit a bump real hard, you lose some air in the lose some pressure. So I just have to watch that and see. So that's okay. Again, you got, that's only 3 this time. That's 3. That's 4, and that's 3. Not bad. And now we haven't even changed anything, but I mean that changes over time. So I want to look and just see the speed down the straightaway. Same speed. So we haven't lost. We just added 2 wing, but haven't lost any speed at all as far as down the straightaway. 168. So same as it was with a 2 wing. And I know I could do better than that if let's see in this next lap. Yeah, still 168. So it's still 168. Okay. So that's things that I check because I'm just trying to see where I'm gaining, where I'm losing. So again, I'm going through the corner better. So I'm able to carry more speed down the straightaway. So again, it's not always, well, I can't run any wing because I'm at Monza or whatever. It's, you got to, it's a balance. It's, if you can be on the brakes better, if you can, it's the whole package. It's not just, single type focus type thing. So let's look at, and that's the way I like a car anyway. I like a car that's more balanced, that you can, I call it race anywhere, not just be able to pass somebody on a straightaway. So now we did the arrow, so that's not bad. I'm just, again, it's roughed in. We might have a click here, click there. Something might change with that. But let's look at things we haven't changed, okay? We haven't changed here with mechanical. So, again, I'm going to leave this the same. I'm going to go down to 54. Let's try that. Now, how do you know when you have too much? Well, to me, it's you have too much when you start feeling the back end wiggling around, getting, doing the little happy dance. Then you know you got a little bit too much rear brake going in. So again, I did not feel that at all there. So I think we can go more. So I'm going to go one more step. Next thing we can also do is look at the tires. And you can see now, see how it's getting closer? See, before this was one ahead of this one. Now they're even. Okay? This one, of course, is taking the brunt. It's only one more. So that might wear faster than this, but our goal is to try to keep that as close as we can. And this we want to keep even, or have this wear a little faster than this front. So that's the goal. So we already made big inroads on that. Okay, so there's that. Let's go back to mechanical. Yeah, that's right. We were on mechanical. So we're mechanical. I'm going to soften the spring one click. Okay, we're going to do that. Just one. But I'm going to change these bump stop rates. The bump stop rates to me are way off. I mean, you're looking at 1,300 and 500, and that's not doing anything anyway. This bump stop rate's not doing anything because at 50, it's not probably hardly doing anything. So this, though, is right up against it. That's why it's hitting so hard when you hit the sausages and the bumps. We're going to cut this way down. I'm going to cut it down to... The Ferrari's pretty balanced. I mean, the Ferrari's a pretty balanced car. It's not like it's nose heavy or whatever. So I'm going to cut it down to there, and I'm going to raise this up. Let the suspension work. So we're going to knock this way down, almost cut it in half. And then this, we're going to raise up. But we're going to limit this down so this does not... still a big gap, though. I mean, I still want a big gap, but basically bring it down to where it does have a limit, to where it does, have a certain, it won't bottom out or won't hit too hard if it does bottom out. I mean, that's the thing, because if it bottoms out too hard, it upsets the car and you lose time. Springs here, I'm just going to increase one click because those are pretty low. I mean, that's almost as low as you can, only one click above the lowest. So we're going to just do one click up on that. So I want one click down there, on the front, and one click up back here. Again, you got to look at the numbers too. I mean, this is a lot weaker than that. So a lot heavier spring up on the nose. Here, I mean, that did help a lot. I think it helped mid-corner, and that's where the preload comes in. If you have, preload, if you have too much, mid-corner, it wants to just understeer. And, but on top of that, if you don't have enough preload, then what happens when you come off a corner is a lot of times it'll want to spin one tire. So I think, it was good, pretty good there, but I think the problem is there. So we're going to keep this the same, but we're going to add some anti-roll bar. We're going to add, I'm going to go up to 10, which is, now look at the difference. Now you can't, obviously a lot of times with cars, you only got like 4, 5, 6, or 7 or something like that. But I mean, look at this. I mean, there's 49. I mean, you're talking very small adjustments. So you can't just go one click or two. It'll take you forever. So, I mean, I go, like on the Ferrari, I go 5 at a time most of the time. And then when I start fine tuning, I might just do a couple clicks. So we're going to go up to 10. That's at least a little. That's a decent adjustment, and what that does, it helps the car rotate in the rear. So again, I added more wing, which is taken. We went from 2.7, or we dropped down to 1.6. So again, that's going to limit the car rotating because we got more wing on the car. Okay, and we raised the car up a little bit, so that makes the aero a little bit less efficient. So it adds again a little bit less aero to the car to rotate. So now we got to compensate that with mechanical. And that's another thing as far as the slower corners, where the aero does make a difference in all the corners, but obviously as the slower it goes, the less effective it is. You then rely on mechanical grip, which is springs, shocks, alignment, all those kinds of things. And that's one of them is the diff preload and the anti-roll bar. And we want to get the back of the car to help it to get it to rotate. So now we got this roughed in, okay? So now we are going to, I'm just going to set the toe, and that's it. I'm going to increase the toe to negative 0.1. That gets a little bit more turn in on the front, especially with all this negative camber. It just helps it turn in a little bit quicker, and that's it. And then basically we were running a little bit too much spread on the tires, so I'm just going to bring it down a couple clicks, and that's it. We'll leave the caster alone the way it is. So basically, let's review what we changed. We changed the brake bias. We changed the click down on the springs in the front. That'll help it turn a little better, get a little grip in the front. We changed the bump stop rate and range to help it go over the bumps a little better and also not be so stiff and rock hard. And then on the rear, we upped the spring a click. And again, that's to help it from bottoming out, and also to help it turn a little bit too. Not much, because it's just a click. It's not going to make that big a difference, but it's a click. And then also with the bump stop rate, we changed it up so it doesn't bottom out, and tightened up the bump stop range so it doesn't. If it does, it doesn't hit so hard to where it just upsets the car and unloads it. Anti-roll bar, we left the preload alone, but we gave it some anti-roll bar to help the rear of the car turn, to rotate. And then the tires, we basically just changed the toe to give it a little bit more turn in, and the camber front and rear to help with tire wear and responsiveness. Also, the less negative camber you have, the more responsive the car is. I mean, when you give it input, it's going to change. The car is going to turn quicker and change directions quicker and all those kinds of things. So let's do a couple more laps. Feels way better. Of course, tires are cold, so still hits hard. too much. Yeah, see, it might be too much for a brake, or just off balance of the car. But we'll try it. This is how you find out. Or you just change your driving. I mean, you know, before I was having a trail brake going in because it was understeering, so now I don't have to. So again, there's things you got to find out. Can't look at this lap because I messed up parabolically back there, so. Let's see what we can do this next lap. Yeah, you just gotta learn not to, you know, before, like I said, I was trail braking going in. You don't want to do that now. It's turning on its own. No problem braking now. Yeah, I definitely don't have to turn it as much, that's for sure. Which I like. Dropping. I'm just going to go up here to see what the speed is. No problem making the corner. Yep. No problem making a corner at all there. Excuse me. Again, we're going to check the tires first. That needs to come up. This is a constant thing. You're always trying to keep it, you know, as the temperature changes. That's why I only go so long and then I restart, because then it's, you know, the heat of the day, it just starts getting worse. And of course, you're changing the balance of the car. It's constantly changing the tire, you know, the tire temps and things like that. So you're constantly you're just chasing it all the time. You know, I'm chasing changing the alignment. You're changing balance. That's why I check it every single time. Every single time I get done with a few laps or whatever, I check the pressures. and I check these. And see, you're still looking at 4 degrees inner and outer. So it's still 4 degrees. So that's still a lot. That's 4 degrees. That's 4, and that's 3. So that's not terrible, but still, I mean, you know, and we even took some of the negative camber out of it. So let's go and look at the speed. I'll go look at this last where I stopped here. Now, I don't count it if I don't make the corner. Like if I went too deep and blew the corner, well then I don't count that because that's not really an accurate check. All 168. If we get a little bit more drive off that out of Parabolica, we get 169. So that's even more speed, you know. So we're still haven't lost anything from what just the aggressive was, and that had hardly any wing. So let's go back. I mean, I would like to get it a little faster, to be honest. But still, 168 isn't terrible. But, you know, again, you always want more. That's the way it always is. This, you know, now of course, this track, you know, you have some fast left and rights, and you also have some really long sweepers and fast corners. So we're just going to raise this up a little bit more caster. Gives a little bit better feeling in the wheel, and also, you know, it gives a little more. I always think it gives it just. I mean, you're talking fine tuning. You know, gives it a little bit more stability because what you're doing is you're pushing the wheel. Obviously, it's fractional, but you're pushing it out, you know, forward a teeny bit. So that's, you know, again, you know, we always, you know, like stability on these fast corners. So I'll take that. I'm going to drop these one more. Well, wait a minute. Yeah, I'm going to drop these one more. I'll leave all the rest alone. So that's a good adjustment, just a teeny bit. Again, we have to go back the other way. But again, you just keep going down until you don't like it and then go the other way. These all look really good. Electronics, I'll leave the same. Corsa fuel's the same. Always put it back on the correct tires. Make sure it's on the next set. Mechanical, again, I'll leave it the same. The brake bias. We're going to go check Motec and see. And then we'll come back to this because I'm just going to do a rough in on Motec. I'm sure a lot of people want to watch that. And again, aero-wise, I think everything is, again, I wouldn't mind trying some stuff. But right now we need to get it to try to handle a little bit better. So again, Motec is something that, you know, once I get roughed in, I try to do. And then it's like the tires. You're constantly adjusting it because every time you change something here, springs, all these things, every time you change it, it's going to change Motec. It's going to change where you need to adjust it. So again, it's not like you adjust it and then that's it. It's constantly going back there and doing this. It's like the tires. So let's go back. Okay. Well, look how much the springs jumped up up here. Wow, the rears jumped up dramatically. They're up real high. The fronts, though, has not gone up as high as I really wanted it to be honest. So let's see what we got here. And see, that's really weird because how the Ferrari is like this, and then you look at the Lamborghini, and it's like nothing. There's hardly any. It's almost like flat back here. So again, all these cars are so different. And so that way, the more time you can spend with one car, the more you learn the ins and outs of it. I mean, it really does make a big difference. Of course, like I said, these two really need to try to equal 50 or close to it. These two. So, like this one, we got 39. It's close. It's basically 49.5. It's really close, but This isn't bad. That's right on the edge is acceptable. I don't mind it if it's equal or right around it. But you can change the dyno of it, and that's what I call it. It's like the dyno. It's like putting a shock on a dyno, which they do to check the rates and what the rate is. You can still change, even though if it's 50, you can still change this right here. So basically, what we can try is, and you got to remember, this is the rebound, the regular rebound, and this is the fast rebound down here. So, but sometimes when you adjust this pushes this up. So, and then the rebound part is what is the extension of it, how high it will go. So when you add the rebound, it makes this want to go up, and you decrease it, it's going to want to go down. And the same with this. When you add fast rebound, it's going to want this to go up and push this up. It'll make a difference to a certain extent now, and it won't keep pushing up all the way up. But what it'll do is it'll like take the gap and keep pushing it up of these bars here. So again, it changes the arc of the graph or arc of the shock. Okay, and those are things that you mess with to see what you like and what you don't like, or what the car likes and doesn't like. Those are things that the only way to find out is to go out and drive it and see what it does. So what I'd like to do, you got rebound here, and what I do is I go back to the car, put it on shocks, and see now see how high. Oh, I mean I'm looking at the front, but we're looking at rebound. So this is the rebound here. That's the bump. This is the rebound. So that's the rebound first, and I go from left to right. So how I do it is I just start here from left and go to right, and then start from here and left to right. So left first is rebound, then it'd be bump. One shock at a time. I don't jump from rebound to rebound over here. And of course, if it's a better way, you do it the way you feels comfortable to you. I just basically left to right, just like you're reading something. So basically, I'm looking at this. And, like I said, you got 49.5. So that's not really bad. But to be honest, I would rather take this out and put fast rebound in just to see what it does. And a lot of that is to see what it does. So you're going to take that out and you're going to add that in. So you took one out and added that in. Okay, we're going to see what it does and see how the graph looks. Then we're going to come back, and then I go back to the graph. Look at this side, and what we got that's almost 28. With that, it's 28. So that's 50. So that's pretty much right on the nose. So see, that's not too bad. But it does hit really hard, pretty hard. So again, we can leave it for now. But see, this actually looks like it needs to come down. So I'm going to what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the bump, and raise the fast bump. So I'm changing just the graph of it to see if it'll go over the bumps a little bit. The initial hit is softer, but the fast bump, it'll take a little bit better and not hit so hard. So that's how we'll try it and see. Okay, so then we go on to the next one. And again, that's 49. So again, that's near 49.5. So again, that's really close. So really, I'm just going to lower the rebound one to get it down here a little. I'd rather have it down here instead of sitting up here. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to lower this down one, but not mess with anything else. Well, I'll go ahead and go up because it's right just about perfect. So we're going to go ahead and go back up just like we did the other side. And then we'll go back and check it. And again, this side's 50.5, so that's just a little over. And it looks like the fast bump is a little high. This is pretty much really, really good. But the fast bump is pushing this up. So we need to knock the fast bump down a click. So we're going to knock that down one click. There. Okay, so we're going to try that out and see how it goes. And then we'll come over here to the rear. Let's see, that's 47, almost 48. So it's actually a little low. And it looks like to me, see, this isn't too bad through here. But see, what I would like to do is the fast rebound to push this up to make this a little bit tighter of a section instead of big gap, like big differences here. See like how that is compared to like this? So that's what I'd like. So that's what we're going to try to do. We're going to raise this up. We got 47. Raise it up a couple clicks. So we're going to raise the fast rebound a couple clicks. And some of this has to go back the other way. Again, you got to go back and forth to see what it does. That's 49, 51. That's like 52. So this is definitely too high. We need to lower this down. So definitely come down. And I'm going to take a bump out and a fast bump out. Try to do it equally. And then we'll go back again, do this. And this is at 47, 48. So again, the same kind of thing. And it looks very similar, basically the same. So we're going to do the same thing to the other side as we did to this side. It's going to raise a couple on the fast rebound. And then this side is 52 and 52.4, so definitely too high. So again, very similar to the other side, which at least it's close to being similar, where a lot of times they're pretty different. So again, every track is different, every car is different, so we'll do the same thing. So I'll lower this down and lower this down. So again, that gives it a little bit more grip also in the rear, because the car can squat a little bit more, where you don't have as harsh of a bump. So hopefully that will help it a little bit. So, but there's no way to know until you try it and find out. So that's roughed in. Okay, those are all the things we change is just roughed. That's not, we'll be messing with that, like I said, every time. So now we'll close this back out. And go back laps. So well, let's go over what we did. Okay, we changed this, just a few little things. Let's revisit. We just changed the caster, one click on the negative camber down. So we did that. So that's a change. All this is the same. That's the same. Mechanical, that's the same. We really didn't change anything on here. So again, that's definitely a difference. I'm going to take some of the sway out. So I'm going to take some of the sway bar back out and lower the preload on the diff down just a little bit. Leave this alone. We'll leave this the way it is. Let's go make some laps again. See where we're at. Definitely reacts faster. Definitely feels a lot better. Oh, that felt better. Took some of the harshness out. Picked up a little bit of time. Gotta fix that. Cost us a couple tenths, a little bit right there. Now what you can do, try different things while you're out here testing, is like I'll go one click up on the traction control and see if that helps it. Still needs improvement. It still takes him a little harsh. I mean, it is better than it was, but it's definitely still taking him harsh. Understeering some, corner entry especially. See what we can do this time. Turn up the brake bias some more. Again, this is things I like trying while I'm out here to see what it does while you're already on the track. If it hurts, helps. It helps a little bit, that TC. Oh yeah, that's definitely better. And a little deep. I still picked up a little bit. I didn't go down to the end, but that's okay. I think we're still doing the same speed. I didn't change none of the aero. So let's go back. Again, this is roughing in. You know, the more you get closer, the more longer the run you want to do to see if it changes. We're still at 4 degrees, so we're still at the same 4 degrees, 4 degrees, 3 degrees. No, that's 4 degrees, and that's 3 degrees. So again, we're just inching on it. We're not making huge differences. We're just inching on it. And again, usually a lot of times with this, I will run. See, this is 3 degrees. So a lot of times what I'll do, especially at MONZA here, is I will stagger it. I'll just have a little bit less negative camber over here, and a little bit more on this side because the left side takes more of the load. So that's what I usually do at Monza, just for that reason, and it gives you a little bit better traction on some of the slower corners or the chicanes and things like that, because you got, as far as not just braking, but basically transitions and changing directions. So basically, what do we want to do from here? Let's check the tires. Yeah, this is where I set. So there we go. Those are even. And see, now this is a little less than this. Now remember, when we started, it was the opposite. So now that's exactly where you want it. I don't mind it that, or even just a teeny bit more, because as the stint goes, if you're running a long stint, you're probably going to start understeering a little more and a little more. And what's going to do is this is going to catch up to that. So, or it's going to wear pretty close to the same. So that's fine. You're not going to notice, that way when the car changes, it changes evenly. I'm sure you've heard me say that before in other videos. Instead of the car mega understeer, mega oversteer, it changes evenly. So the one thing I don't like, it seems to me, is the spring in the back. It needs more spring in the rear. Some of the slower corners, the way it's turning and hooking up. So I think, I'm wanting to slide out. I think it needs more spring in the rear for the slower corners. And I'd rather lessen the spring in the front to get more grip on the front tires. So that's what's doing. When you lower the spring, you're going to increase the grip. Of course, if it's, it can be the opposite. It's kind of like it's like a pyramid. I mean, if you go too much, it's going to fall off and go the other way. So you're trying to find that happy medium to where it gets more grip, not less. And of course, the advantage of running always a little bit softer spring is you can make up for it with a bump stop rate. That's the whole idea of having a bump stop rate, is you run a softer spring. So basically in the corners, especially the slow corners, let's say the chicanes and things like that, you have the advantage of a softer spring and getting the grip. And then in the fast corners, you have the bump stop rates to help limit the travel of the spring. And that's what the bump stop rate's for. Or on the brakes, or those kinds of things. So that's the whole, the idea behind it anyway. So again, we'll leave the bump stop rates alone. Just soften the springs and see how the car reacts. And of course, this side we stiffen them up one click, and we'll see how it reacts. So that's that change there. This, again, the car's understeering some, but I mean, I'm kind of nervous about doing an oversteering, and I really don't want to add more wing to it, to be honest. But we can try it. We'll add one click of wing and one click of ride height in the rear. So now we're down to 1.2, which we had over double that. So, a lot of times I try it and it don't work. That's fine. I just like to try it to see what it does. We know that the brake bias was fine at 53, so I'm going to lower that down to 53. So we got everything pretty good. And let's go check Motec. So one thing you want to definitely double check is every time you come back here, you got to make sure it's on the right lap, because if you made changes, see, it's back on the lap that we did before. So you got to check that, because otherwise you're going to be judging. Man, I did this and it didn't do nothing. So see, now look at it. See a big difference. It changed a lot there. At least in the rear it did, for sure. So again, and you can compare it by hitting this box over here. Let's say you got this here, right? And you want to compare it to, obviously, from the fast lap from before. You click that, and you can see where the differences are highlighted. So yeah, you can see how we changed. I call it again, like call it like a dyno. We changed the curve of the shock, and also how high the rate is. I mean, as far as how high it went too. So we changed both, and again, it's an improvement. So, but you can get an idea of that by just clicking on the other box, and then you just click it again to take it back off. Again, I'm no master at it. I just know pretty much the basics, and trying to relay them to you. So again, we'll do the same thing. Now this, let's see, this is now at 49, almost 50 still. It's almost still at 50. So again, it's a little on the high there with the rebound, but I'm going to leave it alone. See how much tighter that is? See how much it's a lot more uniform, I call it, as far as going up. Of course, this is down, so I'm kind of hoping with lowering the spring, this will come back up, I hope. I don't know, even some. So I'm hoping this will come up a little bit with lowering that spring. And then basically here we got 25 and 25, so that's basically 50, just barely over 50. So this isn't bad either. It's really, really close. Again, if this would come up, it would probably be even a little bit better graph. So again, we'll leave that alone. So that's not bad. We'll look over here. This is 47 and a half. 49 and a half. 49 and a half. So basically, or a little over 49 and a half. It's like 49.7. So it's close. Again, it's about the same as the other one. A little higher, but we'll leave it. And this is 49. Basically a little over 50. Again, it looks like this is just a little high. Better than it was, but still a little high. So let's lower the fast bump down another click. So we'll lower the fast bump down one more click. Let me take a look at that again. Yeah. Well, let's do this. Let's do a bigger thing. Let's lower this down to that and just see what it does. Because I'd like to get a little bit more grip in the front, and that's what that's going to do. So let's lower that down and see how that works. And we can always lower it back if we have to. This isn't terrible, but maybe if this whole thing would come down, it would be all right. So let's just lower the regular bump down. So, and then we'll come down here, and that's 47. So that actually needs to come up. Again, I think it's more like fast rebound. I would rather have this come up and be a little bit tighter. So let's do another click on the fast rebound. Bump wise, we are at 49. $51, that's like 52 or something. That's still way too high. We need to lower the bump down. So bump needs to come down. So let's lower that down to there. I'll do one of each. Over here, which is pretty equal to that one. Like again, you're looking at 46, 47. So again, it needs to come up. So I'm going to go ahead and raise that up again too. And then the bump, 52. This again, that's still way too high. So this definitely needs to come down. Bump is way too high. It's overshocked, overdamped, or whatever you want to call it. So we're going to knock this down and that down and make just one click of each. So hopefully that'll bring that down some, I hope. So again, it should. So, but we increased the spring too, so that might bring it down a little also, but it's going to change all those things. Again, a lot of this, the only way to know is to change it and then go through and test it and see what it does. So we made some changes. So let's review. We'll close this out. Oh, I closed the wrong thing out. Whoops. That was a big mistake. Well, let's go back. We already knew what it was doing anyway. So let's go back and reopen the game. Hit the wrong one. Let's restart it. It's alright. It's temperature-wise, it was getting high anyway. So let's go ahead and start this again. Like I said, temperature-wise, starts getting higher and higher, and I don't like that. So probably go quicker with that anyway. So let's reload that. Start back over on number ones, and of course, all the setups that all the things that we changed. No, it didn't take it. It didn't save it. So we got to go back through and change all that, because that was that. 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 Yeah, it didn't save any of the stuff. Dang it. There we go. That changes all that. Changes that. Go back through and change all this back. Oop. I didn't mean to do that. There we go. Sorry about that. Hit the wrong thing. There we go. So now we're back in. Now everything's back done again the way it's supposed to. I'm going to add one to each one since it's probably colder.
Green light, give it all you can.
See what she does. Hopefully she'll pick up. I forget what I think I fast with a 49.7 or something like that. I know one thing, it feels way better. Way better than what it was. Go up on the TC. Which Ferrari has a great TC, so I mean, there's nothing wrong with using it. I used it in the race, in Spa. I used it, I don't think it hurts the car. It's a plus. That's definitely better. We'll see how it goes. Curious to see with the wing and all that, if it's gonna help it or hurt it. over that sausage all right. Well, that's not good. Set the car too much there. Definitely goes over the bumps better though. And that first one was still aggressive. That thing was hitting hard.
Well done, mate. Personal best.
See if we can do any better. Ah, that's no good. That ain't no good. Well, let's see what the speed was. That's still 168. So see, it hasn't even changed any on that at all. So it's other things that's changed. Let's see the next one. It's probably went too deep. I think that's what it was. I think it just went too deep. Yeah, I think it was just a little too deep. See, so that really was no good. Okay, let's find our limits. Wear on the tires still look good as far as even, so I'm good with that. Let's tighten the range up on this so the car doesn't pitch so much on the front. Just make small adjustments just to make it a little bit tighter. Again, you just inching on it. That's all. Go ahead and dock a little bit more off the preload, off the diff. And I like that because it keeps it linear, but the Ferrari I know takes a lot more, probably not, a lot more diff than normal cars. But again, if you look at me with Spa, I didn't do that. So again, sometimes it just doesn't work. I mean, no matter how much sway bar you throw to it, it just doesn't work. So all these look the same, look correct. I think it's a little too oversteery, but let's just do that. Let's leave it all at 59 and see how it works instead of raising the rear up. Let's try that because I think it's a little oversteery. Yeah, got the wrong tires. They're still on number ones. Okay, now it'll be on number twos now. Now it's on number twos. So let's see if we can have a better run this time, get more of an accurate run to see what it does. Then we can go over Motec and see what it changed. Another thing with the brakes, I mean, you really try to keep them where they don't get too cold. So that's another thing that you're trying to do while you're tuning the car. Again, it's something else to try to really, keep an eye on. Sometimes, you just miss it. But, you're trying to keep the brake ducts and things so it doesn't get too cold. Because otherwise you go in these brake zones and you got cold brakes. it's no good. So and that means you got, you might have to adjust your brake ducts and then adjust your tire pressures accordingly. So they still stay in the range, but that they're not, but the brakes are still keeping some heat in them. Especially these big tracks like this, where they, you get long straightaways where they get cool. Let's see if we can get a lap. Tire's still cold. Still a little cold. Much better over the bumps. I like that spring because it definitely helps a little bit more, even more with the bumps. Like that.
Well done, mate. That's the best.
Better. Said we'll go over Motec again. Dang it, a little bit wide. See if I can do a better job driving the rest of the track here. Tires are a teeny bit low. Not much. They're close. Staying consistent. Feels still a huge improvement. Over bumps, just everywhere. Better. I felt a little better going through that corner that time. Maybe a little bit too cautious, but that was a lot better. Getting a good drive down the straightaway. So we're running to 49.60. I mean, I think there's definitely more in it. Probably another 10th or so. Just in the way it sits. I mean, we need to find more performance out of it, but I'm talking just the way it is now. So this is definitely roughed in. I'll probably we're going to go over Motec again and end it here to this part of the video. Let's see here. Let's look at the tires. Got 3, 4, and 3. So again, not terrible. Really, all these need to come up just one more. You know, that's good. That's good. Let's look at the wear. It's one off here, and the same way it was. Got light graining here on the right front, probably locking up the right front. But I'm not too concerned about that. You know, graining is not the biggest thing really. I look at more at the wear of what the tires are doing. So they look good. Look really good. So I like everything. Now we need to look at Motec before we choose any other. I'm not going to change anything else on this video other than Motec. So let's look at that. Let's see. Yeah, you got that, the last lap, and that. So they're close to the same. But yeah, that's another thing. You know, I always check a couple different laps just to see what they look like, if it changes dramatically or whatever. So, of course, this still, I wish it was a lot more. It's not really going up as much as I want it to, but at least this is coming down to be more equal. So this is about as equal to that, where before it was way up here. So, again, I was hoping it would come up, but I don't think it's come up too much, if any. It's still pretty low. What we got here? We got 48. But you can see how it come up some, because this before, remember, it was below here. Now it's actually up above it. See, now I like to raise the fast rebound back up a little bit, because this is at 48, 49, a little over 49. So I'll go ahead and click that up one. Put it on the dampers. Up one. And go back. Try to get this a little tighter, because this is already up at the top, right up here. I don't like it to, to stay right near the top wherever. Here we got, that's 50, that's 51, so it's still too high on the bump. So again, I'm going to lower the fast bump, which I don't think I can lower too much. I'm going to lower one more. Yep. Oh, wrong one. Sorry. This one. And I'll lower that one. So we take a pretty big dump, one of it out of each. I'll take one out of each. There we go. I remember what tire you're on. Left front, let's see, we got 49. So again, it's not too bad, really. Leave that alone. Is that equal to this side? No, I got more on the rebound part on the left side than I do the right. So it's a little bit different. This is 50, a little over 50. I'm going to lower the fast bump on it also. So that comes down. The other one was worse, I think, wasn't it? The other one was, yeah, it was just a little worse. I'm going to put that back up. I just lowered that down. I lowered the bump and the fast bump down, and I just did one. Let's just do little at a time. Again, it's not going to be the last time we check this. So again, you know, if you make a mistake, you're gonna. I mean, you do this multiple times, almost like you do tires. Once you're near the end, you're just checking it almost every single time, trying to fine tune everything you can. You know, down here, you're looking at 47, 48, 48 something. Should be, yeah. No, I see. You got 40, yeah, 47, about 48 point something. So this can come up some more. I'm gonna go ahead and it's already raised pretty high, but I'm gonna go ahead and do the fast. Wait a minute, how was that? Yeah, cause see, this is already a little higher than what it was than that. So I'm gonna go raise that one more click, and then here. This is 47, 48, something also. So again, it's about the same as the other one. I'm going to raise fast rebound on it. And then here we have the bump. I didn't do this side, did I? Yeah, this side is 50. That's still way too high. So again, I need to lower. Again, I need to lower the bump and the fast bump because this is a little high. And this is high. But let's see what we got here. Yeah, it's already getting down there pretty low. And this is the same thing. That's still too high. Really crazy settings, but I'm just doing what it tells me to do. So get as close as we can. So again, every car is different. I mean, you can have, you know, completely opposites of other stuff, other cars. That's what makes ACC so, you know, different. I mean, it's just every car is unique in its handling and its characteristics and it's everything you look at, sound, and they're all unique in every single way. So, and tuning is the same way. It's the same exact way. So that is that. So again, that will be adjustments we had there. So again, we didn't change a lot here this time. I wouldn't mind, doing some other things, which will be in the next video. Doing some more fine tuning and see if we can find more performance. This is roughed in. This is where, you know, it's good, and then you could race this, but you know, you might be leaving some performance on the table, maybe even later on down the road. And another thing you check, you know, when I'm doing setup, I always check this. You know, right now it's at 59, and we have 60 liters. So one click means we only got 3 liters in there. And what does it do? This comes up 1, and this comes up 2. So that's how it's going to change as the fuel comes off. So that's another thing I try to keep in mind. I don't mind that. That's not that bad. But, you know, I might, you know, to try to find some performance, we might have to do some other things. trying to get it to handle better. And of course, as you're doing that and changing the balance and changing these things, then these things all change also. You might have to change bump stops, change the balance of the car, change Motec. Every time you're doing that, you're changing Motec, and you're trying to find the performance in the car to where it's comfortable and not lose drivability. At least that's the goal: is not lose drivability, but keep performance, but mostly try to increase performance. So again, your feedback and comments are critical, and I really appreciate them. And if you like it, it's okay. If you don't like it, that's okay too. I try to communicate this as slowly, but still get it done and not drag it out forever. But I tried. This is one of these things where no matter what you do, it's going to take a long time. They take a long time to do. And if you want to see more of these, please, your input is very important. So please let me know. This is, like I said, just the beginning part of the series. Like I said, I want to call it the Italian series, basically, where we're starting with the Ferrari, and we have 3 totally different tracks, and the setups will be definitely unique to those tracks because they're one track. You can't use one setup to another track. There's just no way. So again, there are going to be some differences in how I use Motec to basically adjust it. But as you can see, we've increased performance over the aggressive by a good amount, and there's still a lot more there. I'm sure I can get some more. There's definitely more there. But not just that, the drivability of driving the car and getting the car to where it's going over the bumps is so much better and things like that. So and more raceable. I call it raceable because you can move the car around, outbrake somebody, do all those kinds of things, or before the car wasn't that good doing that. So again, I sure hope any comments or feedback, and again, look for part 2 coming up to where we can try to see if we can finalize it and get it some more performance and do even better. So I appreciate it. I hope you give me a like and thumbs up and subscribe, and all those things help. And I sure appreciate all your support. Thank you to all my subscribers and everybody out there. I really do appreciate it greatly. And I hope you come back often and come back soon. See ya.